These ancient silver Roman coins are a bit unique. Not only are they 1700 years old, they feature one of the more interesting rulers in the history of the Roman Empire, namely a Roman Caesar who never set foot in the capital itself. These are the ancient silver Roman denarii coins featuring Maximinius Thrax I, a Roman Empire emperor from the Age of Chaos, and our coins have been certified by NGC to be in extra fine condition, despite being at least 1,785 years old. That's 1,785-year-old at least. Maximinius only ruled for a short period, but during that short 3-year span, it was one of the most violent periods in the history of the Roman Empire. And for an empire that was invading neighboring countries and peoples as much as it was, and had as many civil wars as it did, it's saying something when this was one of the most ridiculously violent eras in the history of Rome. Why we call it the Age of Chaos. Each of our coins are item number 905-10714. 905-10714. And we are just $239.95 for an NGC certified extra fine coin. And at that price, we are more than $355 less than our nearest competition for the same certified piece of silver Roman coinage featuring the face of Maximinius Thrax. Now let's talk about Emperor Maximinius. He ruled from 235 AD to 238 AD, just a short few years. And he was the commander of the 4th Legion of the Roman troops in what would be modern-day northern Italy, when the then Roman Emperor Severus Alexander would be assassinated by his own personal guard in 235. The Pannonian Army, otherwise known as the Army of the Rhine, would then elect Maximinus emperor after this took place. He was very famous for being one of the first Roman emperors who did not come from the senatorial class or the equestrians. His father was an accountant in the governor's office, and they belonged to peoples that had been recently brought into the empire in just the last few decades. In 238, at the end of his short reign, there would be a massive revolt known as the Year of the Six Emperors. It would lead to both a senatorial and a provincial revolt breaking out, leading to Gordian I, Gordian II, Cupianus, I don't know if I said that right, Balbinus, and Gordian III, all laying claim to being emperor at the exact same time as Maximinus. Maximinus would begin his rule in power by eliminating all of the close advisors of his former leader, Severus Alexander. This was very commonplace, and while this was done, they would often buy the loyalty of the other troops who took place in this by giving them bonuses and the like. However, Maximinus doubled down even more on that by doubling the pay of all of his soldiers throughout the empire. The only downside was this meant that along with their virtually constant warfare that the Roman Empire was dealing in, tax collectors began to meet higher and higher demands from Rome, which meant they were using ever more violent methods and illegal confiscations to try and meet those quotas. Because if they couldn't meet the quotas, the Roman emperor would not treat them any nicer than they were treating the everyday people. And many would argue that his choice to eliminate the advisors of Severus Alexander may have been justified, because right after that happened, 2 subsequent plots were found where they tried to assassinate him before he could ever even be named as emperor. One was when they were campaigning across the Rhine River area. A group of officers tried to destroy a bridge, stranding him with his bodyguard in hostile territory. They were going to elect Senator Magnus as the emperor afterwards. However, the conspiracy was discovered, and they were stopped before the bridge could be destroyed. The second plot involved the Mesopotamian archers who had been serving under Alexander, who were upset about him being assassinated. They planned to elevate one of their kind to the position of emperor after the fact, but their leader, Macedo, changed sides at the last second, letting the emperor know of what was to come, saving his life. However, his initial role in the plot meant that him changing his mind did not save him. Then, while all of this was going on, down in Africa, Gordian I and II would lead a revolt that was not actually theirs to begin with. A bunch of landowners found out that a local provincial leader was taxing them illegally and stealing their money while also filing false judgments against them to ensure that they would lose in Roman court. They armed their clients and workers and sent them after them, entering modern-day Elgem, where they would then murder the official and his bodyguards, proclaiming the governors of the area, Gordian I and Gordian II, as co-emperors. Unfortunately, this would not work in their favor, despite the Roman Senate, out of nowhere, deciding to throw their lot in behind the Gordians. The revolt did not go as planned when a neighboring province of Numidia's governor led his legion, the Third Augusta Legion, in to quash the rebellion. While all this was going on, Maximinius was outraged and marching on Rome. However, the city of Aquileia closed its gates against him, despite him believing they would open their doors and let them inside. During an unexpected siege of this city, his troops were suffering from starvation, and when it became too much to bear, several of the soldiers in the Second Parthica, the Second Legion, mutinied, assassinated him, his child, and his ministers. Their heads were then put onto poles and carried to Rome to inform the Senate that this happened. Pupienus and Balbinus then became co-emperors after the fact. However, they mistrusted each other and were both ultimately murdered by each other's Praetorian Guard, making Gordian III the sole surviving emperor. And this whole story is interesting simply because, due to him constantly waging war in the northern provinces, he never set foot in the capital of Rome during his short 3-year reign. Though he did travel so much that while he was emperor, he led massive reconstruction projects of the modern Roman road, the ancient Roman road system, with mile markers honoring him as far north as ancient Germania and as far south as the Moshav Ramat village in the Golan Heights in the Middle East that was just discovered in 2019. Our competition wants over $595 for this coin in the same certified condition. We are more than $355 less at just $239.95 for a piece of ancient Roman history of one of the more unique Roman rulers, and that's really saying something. Coins this rare and this old do not come around every so often, and when they do, they disappear quicker than that. Call in now and grab yours while you still can.